Hi guys, it's Sheree here. Welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another Surgical Tech 101 video. In today's video, I'm going to be sharing with you guys all my tips and tricks that I did right before I started clinicals or while I was in clinicals. I get asked this question a lot. You guys always want to know what to do, how to prep for clinicals to have the best experience. So without further ado, I'm going to get right into this video, but don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and also follow me on my social medias at Life with Sheree. So to get into the video, number one, we're going to be starting with 5 things that I think you need and that are important to start your clinical journey. So number 1 on my list are going to be, and I'm sorry, but I'm looking down because I have my iPad here and it just has notes on there. Okay, so number 1 thing I'm going to recommend is compression socks. So I have these that I got from my old job, and basically you want to have compression socks just to help with blood flow. You're going to be standing a lot. As a surgical tech, a big part of our job is standing. Most of our job is done or standing. There's like a couple cases that we get to do where we're sitting down, but majority of the time you're going to be standing on your feet. And especially that first week of clinicals, if you're not used to standing a lot, it can definitely feel like a lot. So I would definitely recommend getting some compression socks. When I first started out, I got some off Amazon. They're pretty inexpensive if I can find them. I will link them below, but you could just go to Amazon, type in compression socks, and you should be able to find some. When they start to feel loose, you should replace them because that means they're not going to be as effective as when you first got them. So just keep that in mind. And to go along with compression socks, I would say shoes are going to be important. I believe when you start clinicals, some schools have specific shoes that they want you to wear. Some programs want you to wear like strictly clogs or something. But make sure whatever shoes you're wearing is comfortable. That's one of the biggest things. So you can have compression socks on, but if your shoes are not comfortable, that's going to play a big role in how comfortable you're going to be throughout the day. So I would definitely recommend either clogs, New Balance. I personally use New Balance now and I love them. I'm going to try to link the ones that I have, but I really love my New Balances that I've been wearing so far. And then another brand I tried when I first started is going to be like, I think it's the Dansko, is that what it's called? The Dansko clogs, I believe that's what they're called. But I didn't really like those. They're also like, I felt like they were a little too high for me, and then I couldn't like walk around as efficiently as I would like really fast, and they were always kind of getting into the way, so I didn't really like those. But a lot of people swear by those. A lot of surgeons wear them, so that's another option. But definitely start to try out different shoes, especially while you're in school, because you do labs and stuff. So try to try out different shoes and see what feels more comfortable for you. Number 3, make sure you are walking into clinicals on your very first day with a notebook and a pen. The first 2 to 3 days are going to be more so like observation days. I know for me, when I first started, I was in observation for about 2 to 3 days. I think, I can't remember, it's been like 3 years. But they're not going to have you, at least for me, I didn't scrub, and most of my classmates told me they didn't scrub the first week. So just bear in mind that you're going to be taking in a lot of information, seeing a lot of new things for the first time. You want to definitely have a notebook and pen. You don't want to seem like you're not interested, because you are there to learn. This is very important. So make sure you have a pen and paper so you can write stuff down, because you're going to be getting passwords to things, potential names and numbers of people that you want to keep in contact with, like your charge nurse, your educator, and you're going to want to write that down somewhere. There's just a lot of information that you're going to get those first couple of days at your clinical site. So make sure you have a notebook and a pen, and it doesn't have to be make sure it's not a massive notebook. Just have one of those little pocket notebooks that you can put inside your scrub pocket, because you don't want to be walking around with like a massive notebook or anything like that. So make sure it's a small one. I got like maybe like 10 of them off Amazon or something, because you go through them pretty fast, and while you're observing, you also do want to take notes in the OR about different things that you see, and you want to try to remember. So definitely have a notebook and pen, and a small one that fits into your scrub pocket. Number 4, I've talked about this in different videos, but the book called The Pocket Guide to the Operating Room was a lifesaver for me when I was in clinical. It has every single surgery that you can think of, every single specialty, and it will help you from start to finish, how to set up, things you need, supplies, instruments. And it's a very good book to help you throughout clinicals. It's a useful book to even help you today as a surgical tech. Hello? You want to say hi? Quick intermission break to say hi to my cat. Hello, I'm Luna. Okay, you get your butt down. Okay, as I was saying, so Pocket Guide to the Operating Room, it's a really good book. I definitely recommend everyone to have that book. That was part of my program book list, but it's also on Amazon. I'm going to try to link it down below in my description box, so you guys can go ahead and check that out. But that's a very important book to pick up and have with you. Keep it in your locker, on your clinical site, keep it in your backpack. I used to use that book every night or morning before surgery. I will go ahead and look in that book and just get a step-by-step of what's going to be happening in a specific surgery that I'm not familiar with. Number 5, breakfast. It is super important to eat as a surgical tech. When you work in the operating room, you could be there scripting for hours, especially your first week. You don't have to have a 4-course breakfast, but you need to make sure you have some type of substance in your stomach, because you don't want to feel faintish from lack of nutrition. It's okay to feel faintish if you're a little squeamish, you've never seen surgery before, but don't make it be, oh, I didn't eat. Don't be that person. So make sure you get something to eat. I'm someone, I have to eat. There was one day where I thought the case was going to be quick, and I was like, oh, it's fine. And this happened to me recently. I thought it was going to be fine. It was a quick case. I was like, oh, I'll just eat after, whatever. I was a little late. Literally 5 minutes into me scrubbing in, I almost passed out. Eat your breakfast. Even if it's a protein shake, a smoothie, whatever high protein food you can get to keep you full, make sure you eat something in the mornings. Surgery starts really early. I know some people, they're like, I can't eat so early in the morning. Try to start training your body to eat something specific that you can tolerate, but try to eat something in the mornings and not go into surgery on an empty stomach, please. So those are my top 5 things that I think you need to have for clinicals, right? So, but here's some other tips. Number 1 is to check your cases the day before. So when I was in clinicals, my educator was sweetest woman on the earth, but she was able to just let me pick my cases the night before, the day before I would leave. We would go over, I think maybe the beginning of the week, or maybe on Fridays, we would go over what cases what specialty I wanted to focus on. And so I would tell her, and she would be like, okay, this is the schedule, pick what room you want to go to, what case you want to see. So make sure you're doing that before you leave for the day. Ask your educator, charge nurse, whatever, what cases am I going to be on tomorrow, so that you can go home and prep for your surgery. Whether that's using Touch Surgery, which is a really good app that you can use, or it's just looking on Google or YouTube, seeing some stuff, but you want to get yourself familiarized with the case that you're going to be scrubbing in on. You never know when surgeons are going to ask you questions. Me personally, when I was in clinicals, surgeons didn't really ask me a ton of questions. I did do my clinicals that I teach in hospital. They were more focused on their med students or residents, whatever. But I've heard cases where people have been asked questions while they were in clinicals by surgeons, and they didn't know the answer or whatever. So make sure you're prepared to just know exactly what you're doing. Never go into a room unprepared and not knowing the procedure, what exactly it is that's being done. If you're not familiar with a name of a procedure, look it up. Learning your medical terminology is going to be super important when you're starting clinicals, because you're going to start hearing terms and words that you're not familiar with, especially if you've never worked in healthcare before. So making sure you're paying attention in medical terminology is super important, because you're going to want to know your ectomies, plasties, etc. And you want to be able to pick up on what those words are. So when you hear a thyroidectomy, you know you can break that apart and be like, okay, we're taking out something. When you hear excision, you know what an excision means, plasty, repair. So you want to be familiar with medical terminology really well to be able to get you through efficiently. So I definitely recommend either downloading an app or studying. I used to use index cards to just study prefixes, suffixes, but you want to be really familiar with medical terminology. One of the most important things about our jobs, I hate when people say, oh, I just pass instruments. Well, in order for you to pass instruments efficiently, you need to know what's going on. To know what instrument to pass at the right time, you need to know the case and you need to know what's going on. So make sure you look over your cases the night before. You're not going to know everything at once. Like, you're there to learn things and learn as you go, but you never want to seem so unprepared that you just don't know anything. You should know something. At this point, you're probably 6 months into your program and you should know some stuff. So be prepared, take the initiative, find out what your cases are, pick cases that you think are interesting, but also you have to focus on getting your hours in. That's the most important part. You got to get your hours in. And this is something also to remember. Your clinical site could literally be your place of employment. This is a trial for employment. A lot of people get hired from the place they do the clinicals. So make sure you're on point, you're on your A game, you show up on time. I cannot stress that enough. Show up on time. Make sure you make it to your room before your preceptor. Don't let your preceptor get there and is looking for you, waiting for you. Do not be late. This is a trial to a job. Show up on time, pay attention, ask questions. Don't be into the gossip and stuff. You don't work there. Don't be in the gossip. Don't gossip about the surgeons. Just do what you need to do. Focus on learning. Be a sponge. Soak it all in. Have fun, because it is, you're learning something new for the first time. You're seeing new things. It can be fun. But at the end of the day, you're no longer in lab classes. This is no longer a fake patient on the table. This is a real patient, and you need to be focused and you need to pay attention. Listen to your preceptor. Listen to your preceptor. If your preceptor says don't load a blade, do not load a blade. And if you're having issues with the preceptor, you don't think they're teaching you enough, you don't think they're letting you do enough, you can always speak to your educator to get paired with someone else. I've definitely had preceptors who were absolutely terrible. They had no business precepting. Let them know, listen, I don't think this person is a good fit for me. Move on. Another important thing is always ask questions. If you're not sure about something, always ask, never assume. Even if you think you know, you probably don't know. And even if you do know, still ask it. There's nothing worse than the student messing something up because they did not ask the question. There's no stupid questions when you're a student and learning. So ask as many questions as you need to. Again, if that person does not want to be precepting, then they need to not be precepting. But you should ask as much you should ask as much questions as you want to ask. Your surgical conscience. This is something right off the bat that you're supposed to be working on. You're now in the operating room. It's your job to speak up if you think something's contaminated. I know it can be a little nerve-wracking to find your voice at first in the operating room. Even as a student, it's still important, very important, to speak up if you think you contaminated something. Don't just stand there and think, oh, no one saw, I'm good. No. This is where your surgical conscience is going to come into play. You need, yes, Luna, this is where your surgical conscience definitely comes into play as a student. You need to build on it, you need to work on it, you need to perfect it, because the minute you think, oh, did I touch that? Did someone touch me while they're pouring saline on my field? Did the nurse touch me while I was grabbing a suture? Sometimes it's hard to know, but if you think, then you did. Just ask your nurse to help you take your gloves off, scrub out, whatever you need to do, but do never compromise your patient because you're too afraid to speak up. Never compromise your patient because you are too afraid to speak up. If you think something is contaminated, it is your job, it is your responsibility as a surgical tech in the room to speak up, even as a student, because sometimes maybe your preceptor didn't see. Are you just gonna sit by and let the patient get infected? No, you're gonna speak up. So work on your surgical conscience. It's a little nerve-wracking to speak up as a student, but it's literally your job. Another thing is form your own opinion. When I went to clinicals, like I said, there's a lot of gossip in hospitals, a lot of gossip in a surgical suite. People will say, oh, your preceptor might be like, oh, that surgeon, I don't like them, they're nasty, they're rude, this, that, and the third. And while it could be true, it can be true for sure, I can tell you firsthand, a lot of surgeons are nasty, but form your own opinion of them. Because I've been in rooms where a preceptor told me, hey, the surgeon's nasty, and they were super sweet to me. We had a great time. Same thing when I started working. I had people telling me, oh yeah, you're not gonna like that surgeon, he's rude, he's this, that, and the third. I go in their room, we have a great time, because sometimes it's not the surgeon, it's the surgical tech, it's the nurse, sorry to say. But take everything with a grain of salt and mind your business, because the last thing you want is to get caught up in some gossip or someone over here, you say something about a surgeon, and the next thing you know, they're calling your instructor, like, come get her, okay? And the next thing you know, you're kicked out of your program. Mind your business, keep your head on a swivel, focus, and do what you're there to do. Learn, get your hours, and leave. Okay, so to recap, and just to add on to my list, so first day of clinical, you get there and you go into any room. The first thing you want to do is make sure you introduce yourself to everyone in the room. No one knows who you are. Always introduce yourself. Always let the surgeon know, hi, I'm a student. I'm here for my hours. This is that and the third. This is my first day in the operating room. It's my first week scrubbing. Let the surgeon know who you are. Let them know you're there learning. But always, 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 always introduce yourself to every room you walk into. Every room. And again, if you're having issues with a preceptor, because it happens, some people have no business precepting, go ahead and tell your educator. So let me go over my list and see if I missed anything. In terms of nerve, I can't sit here and tell you guys you're not going to be nervous. I can't sit here and tell you guys that, oh, you're not going to be nervous, it's going to be fine. No, I was extremely nervous my first week. Like the first 2 months, I was really, really nervous. Like until you start getting confident and you start scrubbing cases and you start doing things, it's really hard to like not be nervous. Especially like I used to get like before like pre-case anxiety. like pre-start of the case anxiety, like setting up the table, making sure everything's ready before the patient rolls in. Like I always felt like somebody's waiting for me, and I always felt like I was keeping people behind because I wasn't fast enough with setting up or whatever. But you know what, you're a student, you're there to learn, you're learning, and that's the whole point of your clinical, right? Is to learn and to practice and do stuff. So just take your time. Don't worry too much on your speed at first. Like everything is just going to be slow. You're going to be intimidated. You're not going to be that, confident in your skills just yet. So don't be too hard on yourself. Like do not be too hard on yourself. As time goes by, the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. And unfortunately, I hate to say it, but there are people, they get to clinical and realize that this is not for them. If you happen to be one of those people, it's fine. It's fine. It's not the end of the world. It just means that surgical tech it just means that surgical tech is not for you, and that's okay. That's okay. But that's why they do clinicals, right? For you to just get an idea and to figure out, is this going to be what I want to do? So don't worry about the nerves. Don't worry about learning everything at once. You're not going to learn everything at once. Unfortunately, you're going to go through clinicals and you're not even going to be able to scrub certain cases, be in certain specialties. Like, I know when I did my clinicals, I didn't even touch ear stuff. I went into my new job not knowing anything about any type of ear surgery, nothing cardiac. I didn't even do ortho, to be honest. So, just take in as much as you can and don't focus so much on getting everything right away. It takes time. It takes time to learn. What are you eating? You know what's crazy? My cat was sleeping for the past 8 hours. And now as soon as I decide to do a video, she wakes up to be a menace. Anyways, where was I? Yes, don't focus so much on you gotta know everything. Everything comes with time. It's gonna take time. The more you do it, is the more confident you're gonna be. And don't sit by and not want to first scrub. You literally have a certain amount of cases that you're going to have to be in first scrub position. Get in there and get it done. It's the only way you are going to learn, is to get up there, first scrub, do what you need to do. Doesn't matter if you're going to make mistakes. Mistakes happen. Brush it off. Not dwell on your mistakes. Learn from them. It's going to be fine. The more you do it, is the more confident you're going to be. Your speed's going to get faster. Your knowledge is going to get better. Your knowledge is going to increase. Just go with it. Don't overthink it. You're going to do great. Clinicals was nerve-wracking. It was fun. It was challenging. All these things in one. But I had a great time where I did my clinicals. And I met some great people. I worked with some really great surgeons. And it's just a learning time. You're just there to learn. And you do the best that you can. Just focus on getting your cases done. That's the most important part, is to make sure by the time clinicals end, you have your 120 hours or whatever it is that your school recommends. Just make sure you have your hours. Get them done. Make sure you're in first position, first scrub roll, and you get it done. You're going to learn so much. Take it all in and do not be too hard on yourself. Make sure you're getting adequate amount of rest, making sure you eat well, make sure you make time to exercise. If you have a job, make sure you have time to study in between all of that. It's hard time. It's going to be a hard time to kind of try to balance things. When I started clinical, I stopped working because I couldn't. There was just no way I could. So for those of you who are still going to be working during clinicals, good luck. It's going to be tough because you still have to find time to do didactic stuff. And you still have to find time to study and all the stuff. So make sure you're getting some sleep and you are eating well and making time to move your body and exercise in different ways than just standing up in the OR. So that's something to think about and be mindful of. I hope this video was helpful. If you guys have any more questions and any videos you guys want me to do, I'm happy to sit and talk to you guys and do it. Feel free to reach out to me by DMs on Instagram as well. I'm happy to answer any questions. I've met so many wonderful people from my videos here on YouTube who have reached out to me and asked me for advice, and so many people I've inspired to start their programs, and they reach out to me and tell me they started or they finished, whatever. So please, if this video was helpful, give it a thumbs up and share it, and also comment down below with all your questions. I'm happy to sit down and do whatever you guys want, and check out the rest of my other videos. I have tons of videos here on my platform, and again, I do a lot more little get ready with me's and things and such like that on my Instagram. So Life with Cherie. I hope this video was helpful. Again, I hope I didn't ramble too much. I hope not, because I have a tendency to do that and ramble on. So hopefully this was to the point and efficient, like it was useful for you guys. Hopefully I didn't ramble on foolishness and it just made sense for you guys. As always, I will see you guys in my next video. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below. Interact with me and let me know if you're in clinicals and how's it going. Let me know if you just started a new job or you starting your program, whatever it is. Give me your updates in the comment section below. I'll see you guys in my next video. Thank you so much. Bye.